morning. This is Education Management 2 2022 presentation for all three examinations that you're going to write. My name is Daniel Kembangula. That's my name, that's my details there. If you want to contact me for clarity on my presentations, feel free to do it on a weekdays, not on the weekends. I'm going to discuss the most important fact of each unit separately in this presentation, and you will then be able to follow the content discussed if you page through your study guide while I'm discussing the content, and also make sure that you understand the content that will enable you to pass the exam. Please note that this is not the examination scope, but rather a guide that will enable you to know and follow the content where examination will be extracted. It's very important to know how your study guide is structured. That is by looking at the table of content in your first page of your study guide, so you know what is covered in each unit, and you can also be able to trace each topic at a particular page, so that when you see a topic in presentation, you know where to go. Take time also to read through it, to familiarize yourself with your content you are going to study. And I also recommend that you must spend time every day with your study guides, just to read before exam comes. Even half an hour is enough to make sure that you are catching up with your content. To pass this course, you need to obtain 50% in your assignment to be admitted to examination. And you also need to get 50% in examination to pass it. This is where you find that sometimes you have obtained good CA marks, but you did not pass the exam. And you normally find at your exam script written sub-minimum not achieved. So what it means is that you can get 100% CA, but still you need to pass examination, which will enable you to pass the course, because some people are deceived by the CA. Starting with the unit 1, and I'm going to look at possible topics that are going to be covered in the coming exams. The first thing that you need to look at is principle of total quality management. This includes the executive management or top management, who should act as the main driver for total quality management and create an environment that ensures it is success. In essence, the principle of total quality management is to make sure that there is a success within the organization, because those are managers of the organization, of the school, to make sure that the school performs. And the second topic that are of equal importance is core characteristics of effective school leaders. Now, if you look at this topic, there are other scholars who have also spoken about this core characteristics of effective school leaders. But in this presentation and in the coming exams, I'm only going to focus on Day and others, who also spoke about core characteristics of effective school leaders, which include leadership means having a clear personal vision of what you want to achieve. And also effective leaders are in the thick of things, which are alongside their colleagues. In other words, Day is saying there must be clear vision to help the leader to achieve their goals. Then we look also at the next topic, which is teams that Total Quality Management Organization adopted. There are actually three teams: the quality improvement teams, of excellence teams, and these are temporal teams with the purpose of dealing with specific problem that often occurs. These teams are set up for a period of 3 to 12 months. So, and there are two others that you need also to know. For the sake of time, I will not talk all of them. I will only give you the hint so that you know what we are talking about. Then we are going to look at also leadership styles. The leadership styles here, we talk about the autocratic, participative leadership style. You have democratic and others. Autocratic is where managers make all the decisions and dominate team members. So that's what we call by autocratic. They barely allow others to give their input. And participative, you know, you are all involved to air your views. Then we look at the component of school of excellence. The component of school excellence is these are interests of common vision and goals. A school, like any other organization that seek to improve, must have a common vision shared by all. Everyone must be committed to shared goal to measure success, and all staff must have the same perception as to what it is important in the organizations. So in other words, when we talk about the component of school excellence, we are talking about those things that make school to be the best of the best. So that's in simple terms. Then the other equally important topic in this unit that you need to look at is overview of total quality management. Total quality management, or total quality management, is an integrative philosophy of management for continuously improving the quality of product and the processes. That's the overview of the total quality management, is to make sure that there's improving quality of product and processes, and that philosophy must be maintained. And the next thing I want you to look at is Principles of Management by Henry Fayol, which involves division of work. Division of work and specialization process produces more and better work with the same effort. So, authority and responsibilities. Authority is the right to give orders and the power to exact obedience. And I also want you to look at Black Martin managerial grid and leadership styles with varying concern for people and production in this, which include improvised style and country club style. In most cases and in previous examination, you confused this Black Martin's managerial grid and leadership styles with types of leadership. This is leadership style, not types of leadership. You must take note of that. So, therefore, this includes only improvised styles and country club styles, but not leadership types. Then we look at the criticism of scientific management. These are speeding up of workers. Scientific management is only a device to speed up the workers without much regard for their health and well-being. In other words, more scientific management approach is being criticized by only focusing on fastening the product, but by fastening the product of the production, but not taking into cognition the health of the workers or the health of the employees. They only want the end product. Loss of individual workers' initiatives. Scientific management reduces workers. That's another criticism that is there. Then we are going to look at characteristics that the majority of effective leaders possess. The characteristics that the majority of effective leaders possess include drive, motivation. Effective leaders, they always they have ambitions and they always have or take initiative to make sure that there is a success in a business or in a school. They always motivate and they want to lead and they are willing to take charge to make sure that others can emulate them. The concept of and features of leadership and leaders, which include a process by which an executive can direct, guide, and influence the behavior and work of others toward accomplishment of specific goals in a given situation. Those are the concepts and features of leadership that I want you to look at. Then we are going also to look at the benefit of scientific management. There are a lot of benefits. As you know, we looked at the criticism earlier on. Then we are now going to look at the benefit. Why is scientific management also bring in some benefit within the organization? It replaces or replacement of traditional rule of thumb method by scientific technique. In other words, we replace the traditional practice and we bring in scientific technique, which is more easier approach, and proper selection and training of workers. The scientific approach also look at the best skills and they look at the expertise within the workers. When you are selecting, if you need a technician, you only look at somebody who is more technical. If you want somebody who is an art person, especially in terms of the school, you select that person. You don't just advertise a post for the sake of advertising. You look at, okay, I need a math teacher. I need somebody who can teach computer, etc., etc. That's the essence of or benefit of scientific management. So in other words, managers now are using scientific management approach to recruit. We are moving to Unit 2. In Unit 2, I want you to look at the following topics. What you need to do to think critical. These are strategies and assumption of critical thinking. Here is where question assumption or critical thinker are inquisitive and look to find the what and the why behind every pre or proposition. The critical thinkers, they are always looking at why is this happening? What caused this to happen? Then I also want you to further look principles of dispute resolution. Very, very important. This includes the acceptance. It's important to accept one another's differences as well as the process and the outcome. The principles of dispute resolution, when you are disputing, the only way to settle the dispute is to accept that, yes, here I'm wrong, or I must accept who you are. Then internal conflict created by passive behavior. That's another topic. Internal conflict can lead to stress, resentment, and seething. Those are the internal conflict which is caused by passive behavior. It can cause those resentment and stress and seething. And others, you know, I'm only trying to make sure that I give the hints or guide. Critical thinkers are by nature skeptical. So as they approach text with the same skepticism and suspicious as they approach spoken remarks, we will look at also that topic. Another one Uh, I don't know whether this is leaders' reward and learners' behavior. This must be leaders' reward and learners' behavior. There's a D which is missing there. I don't know if I can be able to add it. So you must add a D. There must be leaders' reward and learners' behavior. This is done to use the weakest reward required to strengthen the behavior. In other words, the principal as a school leader, they normally reward learners to strengthen their behavior when they did well. When possible, avoid using learners' reward as an initiative promised before the behavior. If you do this, you get this. So, in other words, you don't promise learners. Allow them to portray their behavior. Then you say, okay, you have done well, so we are giving you this. So that you motivate those to keep up with their good behavior and also motivate others who are doing well or who are doing worse to emulate those who are doing well. Is this part of Unit 3? Yes, I think so. Unit 3, I want you to look at cluster system usage of framework for other programs and projects. This includes the system provide a single structure through which a variety of programs and projects can be driven. The system also provides a new possibility for regional development. The cluster system usage of framework. So here I want you to look at the clustering system in Namibia and how it helps the school to operate and other regional projects within the education sectors. Furthermore, I want you to look at the effect of school leadership on motivation and achievement. For example, learner reward and learner behavior. This includes the following. To reinforce the desired behavior, that's the effect of school leadership on motivation. To indicate a desired behavior. So in other words, for the school leadership to motivate learners, they are trying to reinforce the desired behavior portrayed by the learners, and they are also trying to point out that what we have done is good. Reward contributes to the overall policy on behavior and attendance, such as. So now, that was motivation. Now we are looking at the reward. The reward helps to build and maintain positive relationship between staff and the learners, and between all pupils, and also make the school experience more enjoyable for learners and all the staff, because staff also need to be rewarded. How school could develop value in learners using Sigmund's board approach. The smorgasbord approach is to teach value through the curriculum, give learners opportunities to engage in thinking about character and values by asking high-order thinking questions. That's how you develop values in learners using the smorgasbord approach. Then we are looking at the effective management of teaching, learning materials, resources needed if the education objectives are to be achieved. The effective management of teaching, learning material and resources needed if the education objectives are to be achieved are to make sure that there is accessibility or accessible facilities for all students and staff, including people with disabilities. In other words, the teaching to be accessible to all, it must be able to develop or designed in such a way that even those people with special needs, they are able to access it. This including also school buildings, classroom, toilet, and sport field. There must be special toilets for disabled learners. The buildings, maybe there are stairs, there must be elevators maybe to assist those disabled learners because they cannot climb the stairs, etc., etc. Benefit of school year plan or planner, which include the following. What are the benefits of the school year planner or school year calendar? A tool to recognize the full range of activity in school over a year, because it indicates what is going to be done on what day and on which month. A planning tool to schedule activities, even with staff agreeing where possible on time requirement. It helps also to help planning to take place so that staff and everyone involved can agree that, okay, yes, we can do this on this particular day. Role of cluster center principles. We are looking at also what the cluster center principles must do. They must provide general leadership and supervision of all activities in the cluster, and they must also make sure that they organize the meetings to meet all the principal under that cluster to give them the update on important activities. Basic categories of methodologies to develop character education. This teaching value through rules, warnings, many times adults simply tell young people what to believe in. So those are the best categories of methodologies to develop character education. Just to make sure that there is teaching which is done through rules. There are classroom rules, there are school rules, etc., etc. And if you break those rules, we have warnings, starting from verbal warning, etc., until you go to the final one, or written warning. That's what we mean by that. In addition, we are looking at Unit 4. Unit 4, we look at school benefit from teacher collaboration in the following ways. When the benefit of school, when teachers are collaborating, is through formal and informal training sessions, study groups, and conversation about teaching. Teachers and administrators get the opportunity to get smarter together because they are sharing ideas. And we are, in addition, looking at dealing with burnout. That's the next topic in Unit 4. Dealing with burnout, we are using the 3R approach. This includes recognize what for warning signs of burnout, reverse and undo the damage by managing stress and seeking support, etc., etc. Teacher collaboration has 6 dimensions, which include, that's another important topic. Teachers collaboration has 6 dimensions that you need to know. Symbolic endorsement and reward that place value on cooperative work. So there must be endorsement of the samples to say, okay, this subject, the highest sample this year is a B in mathematics. The school where teachers work together best are those in which the principal and other leaders convey their faith in the power of interdisciplinary teams to make the school better for learners. In other words, there must be committees within the schools that are dealing with the learners' disciplinary issues and making sure that learners are behaving. Recruitment and hiring or placing new teachers, that's another topic I need you to know. Recruit aggressively, streamline and facilitate the hiring process. Another recruitment and hiring or placing new teachers include also hire early so that the new teachers or novice can settle in. You don't wait for the academic year to start, is when you are advertising the post, but you advertise earlier or in a or previous calendar year, then you interview. Then when you are starting with a new calendar year, you have the new teachers also starting with others. The teaching service commits itself to provide the basic education to all learners in Namibia. This is done to promote functional literacy and language development. That's another important topic you need to know. We are moving to Unit 5. Unit 5, we look at the benefit of progress monitoring. The benefit of progress monitoring involves accelerating learning because students are receiving more appropriate instruction, because you continuously monitor what's happening. Then we look at the component of school accountability system. The component of school accountability system is just to make sure that performance indicators, purpose and use accountability system express the theory of action. In other words, the school must accept or must be accountable of what's happening. If there's high failure, the school must be accountable for that. If there's high performance, the school must say, yes, we have done that. Then we look at the constraints on providing quality education in Namibia. Constraints, these are problems. Things such as professional and qualified teachers. These are the maybe budgetary constraints and all those things. They are all constraints of providing quality education in Namibia. So even the issue of drug usage among learners, all those are things that are contributing to the or inhibiting the provision of quality education in Namibia. We are in Unit 6. In Unit 6, we are looking at 1, 2, 3 things or 2. Article 20 of the Zambian Constitution, which include all people, or which rather states that all people shall have the right or equal right to education. Then you go in detail of what is entailed in that Article 20 of the Zambian Constitution. Then we look at the less serious offenses that are committed by secondary school learners in Namibia. You remember there are major offenses, but now I want only you to focus on the less serious offenses, such as homework not done, disruptive behavior in the class, etc., etc. Those are the only few things that I want you to look in Unit 6. Thank you for listening, and I hope you find this very important, and where you find something not clear, feel free to consult the tutor so that I can still take you through, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.